All right. Okay. Um, all right. So I ground my study on onomatopeia and its use as mnemonics and meaning, no? Particularly on the Puche of Chiang Mai, Thailand, among the Tayay, in contrast to the Tambur of the Philippines, um, which is in Panay. No? So this is the Tambur and this is the Puche. So what do you mean when you say onomatopeia? No? So I quote here Castillos, who said that the conceptualization and practice of onomatopeia in music are defined these ways, no, in different ways, no. So as graphic representations or imitations, as reproduction of environmental sounds, imitation of non-musical sounds. It's also defined as simple imitation of acoustic phenomena of the external world, and use of everyday sounds or as definitive representative allusions. No? However, in my study, I refer to these two definitions, no, as names constructed from the production sound. So when you play an instrument, for instance, the sound that comes out of that instrument usually is also the name that you call the instrument. No? For example, if an instrument you call it a cling, when you play it, it has a kind of sound too that comes up producing the same name. Number two, I also refer to mimetic translations of sound into categories or identification. So what I mean is that sometimes the imitation of sound is also translated into some kind of a category, identification. Aside from a particular name, is also a kind of a category of sound. So okay. So what is my on the other hand, no, my argument about mnemonics, onomatopeia as mnemonics or memory device versus meaning is that in my study, I utilize the context of how you identify, how the hearer can actually identify the sound, and also how a certain instrument, musical instrument, produce the sound, and how the sound is perceived in terms of value and meaning. No? So when you hear a sound, for example, you identify it according to the one hearing the sound, but also you have to take consideration the production of sound of that instrument. Of course, the body of the instrument, whether it's made of wood or made of bamboo, no, it has its own sonic production. And thirdly, taking into consideration how it's being perceived, no? So that's where meaning comes in. What is the perception of the sound in terms of its value and meaning? So there are different ways of looking at onomatopeia in this case. No? So my
Excuse me, doctor. Excuse me, doctor. But maybe you should check the wire, because the sound is not very clear. Maybe you are charging your phone and it's affect your sound. So
I'll take off the earphones. Okay.
okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's very clear.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, that is perfect.
Hello. I think I'll check my input and output. The sound
we can hear you, but it's like you cannot hear me.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes. Perfect.
All right, that's better. Okay, sorry about that. Okay. So moving on, so it's actually here the objective of the study is to understand traditions in Southeast Asia. That's why I am interested in looking at Philippines and Thailand, because I want to place that study within the Southeast Asian tradition, and looking at how we understand words and music and their purpose when you put them into action by playing the instruments, no? As well as how it's connected to dancing, for example, because I will show you later how the drum is connected to dancing. And also to augment studies on music and spirituality, because the musical instruments are actually connected to a certain kind of offering, as a spiritual function. No? So I show you here the map. This is the map of the origins of the Tayay. The Tayay, this is the group in Chiang Mai, which actually came from the Myeongsong province. No? So here they are very active in playing the Mujay drums, and then eventually they migrated to Chiang Mai. Now they're natives of Chiang Mai. No? But I also want to show you the map in the Philippines where the tambur originates. So the tambur is a musical instrument. I'll show you a picture later of the instrument. And it comes from the Visayas, the Panay Visayas, which is the central part of the archipelago. So we have three large archipelagos in the Philippines. We have the Luzon, the Visayas, and Mindanao. No? And the tambur is found here in this central part of the islands. No? So my first visit to Wat Mahawan many years ago in 2016 was because of the support of the Japan Foundation Asian Center. So I was able to go there and then meet the monks there. They're very, very kind. And also the one who collaborated with me, assisted me is also Dr. Kanitep Pitupungna, which he actually is a professor at the Chiang Mai University. No? So I went there and then I also met their monk, the head monk, who is Wong Katayakamon. He's he's the head monk, no? And he shared with various ideas, concepts, and practices surrounding the Bujay drum. On the other hand, here's the Panay Mountains in the Philippines, where the tambur is actually being played and used for their different functions in the community. No? So this is the drums of Chiang Mai, the Tayay, the drums of the Tayay, in which actually they are used in Wat Mahawan. No? And it's interesting because there are three main sizes, and they will be playing in an ensemble later, and I will show them. No? So the onomatopeia of the bujay include, among others, the pe and the pu, and this has two sounds, no? The pe and the yu. No? The pe is a long or open sound that is played by hitting the drum head. No? You play it, and then suddenly you drum it with 4 fingers. No? The 4 fingers are that which produce the sound and make it long. No? The yub, on the other hand, is a short or close sound. Short sound that will be played by hitting and stopping on. So and dumping as well. So when you dump, you actually also stop the sound because the decay of the sound, the release of the sound will be shorter because you dump the sound. So that's the onomatopeia. When you use it, you have actually a shorter sound because of the dumping. No? And the pu is also a short sound made by hitting the drum by a finger. No? Finger. No? So finger is shorter sound because instead of 4 fingers, you use only 1 finger. No? So this is the onomatopeia they use for bujay. No? So here an example of a master drummer. Okay, a master drummer who showed us how to play this. This is the crew master. We have Sangkam Yod, no? Well, that's the one for the dance, no? However, for the drum, I have to figure out. I have his name somewhere. I'm gonna read it later, no? So he's going to show you. He's playing the drum, no? Peyu. That's the peyu. Pe. So the sound is longer because there's no dumping. No? Okay, that's the pe. And if you combine it, that's when you get. Okay, that's the combination now. And you see the other finger, the other hands there, it's sort of dumping the shorter sound. Okay. This is the tambur of the Philippines. Now, your tambur has an upper and a lower drum head. No? The skin comes from a deer, no? An animal, deer. And is the upper head, the skin from the upper drum comes from the lipay or the female deer, no? And then the lower part is from a male deer, no? So, but usually the top part is being played, no? Is the top part, and they believe that the higher pitch is on the top part, which comes from a female deer. So the pitch of a female deer's skin turns out to have a higher sound than the one below that, no? So the onomatopeia here is that, for example, they use the patak danga, no, guribal, no. So you can say it's just a kind of a memory device to remember this, no? The syllabication of patak and then danga, then guribal, no. So the patak is a kind of a patikto using the stick, and then danga refers to that one, which is the guribal. So play that guribal. So it's a kind of mnemonic, a memory device to play on the tambur, no. So but also after the mnemonics, just a kind of a play of the rhythmic pattern. So I show you here the video of the tambur.
Si Mansueto, panumdum kang mga panamburon. Ano mo mapanamburin ng kalain-laing klase? Anong diferensya sa kada isa?
Okay, so you just he just showed you the patak danga guribal, no? Which is through the every stroke of it is actually syllabic, no? Patak danga guribal is syllabic, no? Now, the Himapan forest is, of course, you're familiar. It's their very own culture of where the Ginari-Ginara is also, in other sources, is Kinari-Kinara, is among the Tayay, they say Ginari-Gingala, no? So it's a different way of pronouncing it depending on the culture. And they believe that the half bird, half human, which is the Ginari, no, and the Ginara, which is here, no, they're found on the Himapan forest. No? So the dance that is accompanied by the bujay, the drum of the Tayay, is the one that is actually referring to the Himapan forest. No? The way the people live there, the creatures, and also that the Buddha one time has actually visited this place before the Buddha, no? Before Buddha went up to meet his mother up in the sky or in the heavens, no? So this is the half human, half bird. This is the Kinari-Kinara, or also pronounced as Ginari-Ginara, Gingali-Gingala by the Tayay, no? Different ways of saying it. Now, on the tambur, on the other hand, if this was the cosmos, a way of a kind of a view of a different kind of existence of beings, in Panay, especially the people called Panay Bukidnon, they have this cosmos, no? This is this 7-layer cosmos. So we have the upper dominion, no? The uppermost, and then the upper, and then you have the middle, or the middle air dominion, the wind, where the birds are. We have the middle, and then the land, the water, and then the lower ground, and we have the upper ground and the depths, which is the lowest of it all. No? So different creatures occupy it. As much as you have also different types of creatures that occupy your Himapan forest. No? So what is the connection of the drums? No? So among the Panay people, no, the highland people, the Panay called Panay Bukidnon, they have this different offerings that they do to dance. So when the tambur plays, no, the dancer, for example, recognizes the upper horizon, and then the middle. When they do this, it's because it's hawk eagle dance. They recognize the middle space and the different spaces around it, and then when they stomp their foot, they actually recognize the depths, no, the underground beings. No? So it's always a kind of communicable offering to music and dance. No? So here, of course, the bujay is accompanying with the gongs and the cymbals, the ginari gingala, as how the Tayay would say, would refer to their dance. No? And so you can see a dancer, and this is within the compound of the Wat Mahawana. And then we have the Binanog here, this is the Philippines hawk eagle dance, where the tambur is being played along with the gong, and some of the participants around do vocalization, no? They do it goes with the drumming, and it goes with the gong, no, when it's being played. So example here of this hawk eagle dance. So you see here, you have the gong here, and the drum is over here at the other side. So the stomping, see, the audience actually participate. And the onomatopeia is also enacted to the body. No? So, okay. Okay. On the other hand, here the ensemble playing of the budget. So the peyub earlier that was demonstrated as an onomatopoeia is now being used in the tapping of the drums. So we have a short sound, you have the yub. No? Peya is longer. No? Okay. So for my conclusion is that so onomatopoeia, particularly when it refers to drum patterns, they have symbolic functions aside from being organized words which are utilized as mnemonics. So earlier, I asked a question, I tried to argue between, is onomatopoeia just merely a mnemonic, or it has also, the meaning of it is also part of its function, a part of its framework, as just a production of sound, no? So the question whether it is a mnemonic or meaning construction requires a kind of process, a processual analogy. What I mean by process is that it comes one after the other. So first it becomes an onomatopoeia, just a production of sound that you actually hear. Secondly, then it becomes a function of memory device used for drums. No? So now I remember you, no, you. So I use it now. When I use it, it becomes a mnemonic device, something like I try to remember, a memory that I can remember so that I can remember the patterns that I use. No? And then thirdly, when the player is become familiar with the patterns, no, and the repeatedness of it, because the repetition makes the pattern more of more automatic or natural for the player to use, the sustained sound becomes almost like a drone because of the ostinato. The repetition is the ostinato itself. So when it becomes a drone, that's when it becomes very interesting, because this flow sound actually help out the dancers to get attuned to their bodies and then dance. No, the same thing with the ginari ginera. They also have an offertory that they say offertory to Buddha. No, it's a kind of a gift to Buddha that they that the function of onomatopoeia becomes not only mnemonics but more than that. It has a meaning in terms of offertory. No? Thus, the cognitive and expressive functions. Cognitive is just a conceptual recognition of a particular framework. For example, onomatopoeia. No, there's a cognitive aspect to it. The mental recognition of it, that it's there, that you can use those words. No, but the expressive functions of it are rendered through the automatic playing, of the instrument, and the dancing that is expressed through the sound, through the music. No? And now it is translated into another function, which is in a way a higher function of meaningful contexts in the domain of spiritual expressions. No? So here you can say that it is the cultural and spiritual ideologies that shape the articulation of the structure. The structure is just the onomatopoeia, the pattern that is being framed, that is being used from the onomatopoeia. No? For example, patakdang nga dalunga, patakdang nga dalaga. The different syllables are formed into a pattern, but now it gains an expression through the dancers, through the different instruments. It has a different level of communicating to spirits, or communicating to Buddha, or communicating in the Philippines, communicating to the different cosmic spirits of the hierarchies of the world. No? So here, the meaning is brought about by Buddhist music. Its gongs and cymbals makes the Gingalap dance possible. And it hovers this process, occupying different temporal spaces, and also linking the lands, the kingdoms between different distance and time, such as the Himapan, the creatures of the Himapan forest where Buddha has actually visited. No? So that's my conclusion. And the last part is that here you see that Gingalab, both as a myth and a living practice, reminds and reaffirms the people of Chiang Mai of their identities, spiritualities, and day-to-day live practices in the city, because being Buddhist, they actually carry that kind of gift to Buddha when they have music. No? So in the same manner as tambur is also in its scholars' efforts with gong, wood, percussion, and vocals, express the hawk eagle dance called binanog to offer to the cosmos, no the upper different levels of the cosmos to become balanced and working in the community where the life cycle is accomplished. Life cycle because the dance is part of a courtship ritual. The binanog is also part of the other functions of the life cycle, the birth, living, marriage, so on and so forth until you get death, and then you have a cycle again, the birth. So it's a life cycle. It also aids in healing and regaining the sense of order between man and nature. So on this end, thank you so much for listening.